Harsh truth. We have our beer. We're on the front porch yet because Mother Nature's still bipolar, but we're getting there. So we're going to dive on in. Were there giant trees on Earth? All right. Let's get into one of the strangest theories you'll hear. And I mean that in the best way. Because this one sits right at the intersection of curiosity, imagination, and a little bit of, wait, what? The idea is this. What if some of the massive rock formations on Earth today aren't just mountains or volcanic structures, but the remains of something much bigger? Something alive. Giant ancient trees. Now, before you write that off completely, take a look at formations like Devil's Tower in Wyoming. Flat top, vertical grooves running down the sides. At a glance, some people would say it almost looks like the base of a mountain or massive tree, like a stump. Now, officially, geologists explain the formation is volcanic rock. Magma pushed up from beneath the Earth's surface, cooled over time, and formed those column-like structures. That's the scientific explanation, and it's backed by a lot of research. But here's where the theory really starts to take off. Is when people begin comparing multiple formations around the world, they point out similarities: flat tops, columns on the side that look like bark. Patterns, depending on how you look at them, can resemble wood grain. And from there, the imagination starts asking questions. If these were trees, how big would they have been? And what kind of world would have supported something like that? Now, let's pause for a second, because this is where it's important to separate observation from conclusion. Yes, some rock formations can resemble tree-like structures, but resemblance alone doesn't prove origin. Nature creates patterns that repeat in surprising ways. Columns, cracks, rings. These can form through completely natural geological processes. I'm going to pause there, because you know that, yes, it forms unusual things in strange ways, but you never get 90-degree turns or perfect circles or exact repeatable dimensions. And on Devil's Tower, they have actually checked those, and several of them are the same width and same depth. Still, the visual similarity is enough to keep the idea alive in online discussions. And then the theory takes another step. If there were giant trees, could there have been giant life forms? This is where the ancient texts often get brought into the conversation, including passages from the Bible. The Bible mentions giants, often referred to as Nephilim in certain interpretations, descriptions of unusually large or powerful beings. Now, depending on how you read those passages, some take them literally, others see them as symbolic or mythological. Historians and scholars have debated those interpretations for a long time. So again, we're looking at something that sits between belief, interpretation, and evidence. Not a clear-cut answer, but a question. And that's really what makes this topic so interesting, because they push us to think about scale, about history, about what we assume the world, or about the world. Earth is incredibly old, billions of years, and while we've learned a lot, there are still parts of our planet that remain difficult to access, study, or fully understand. I mean, look at Antarctica, my past episode. But here's where we come back to grounded reality. Geology as a science has strong explanations for formations like Devil's Tower, volcanic activity, cooling patterns, erosion over time. These processes can create shapes at a glance resemble something familiar like a tree. That doesn't necessarily mean they are trees. It means our brains are really good at recognizing patterns, even when those patterns come from completely different origins. So where does that leave us? Some people say natural rock formations, or see natural rock formations. Others see something more mysterious, an ancient remnants of a different kind of Earth, a world that may have looked nothing like the one we know today. And somewhere between those perspectives is the conversation. So I want to hear from you. When you look at formations like Devil's Tower, what do you see? A natural geological structure, or something that makes you question it a little deeper? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because discussions like this is where things really get interesting. And if you enjoy exploring ideas that sit right on the edge of fact and mystery, make sure you like, subscribe to Front Porch Truth, and ring that notification bell, because we're just getting started. Until next time, keep asking questions.